SZCZEPANSKI and POCHWALA from Poland. They were in great form in the European champs recently, picking up a medal, I think.
The Hochschorners, tell me about them.
Yeah, Hochschorners, that was the surprise packet from the semi-finals. Just missing your gate and obviously then missing the finals. So they were looking a bit forlorn when I saw them earlier. But
nothing broken there, hopefully, today.
No.
And the other ones that perhaps not made people expecting to be here were Laborel and Peche, and there was Pierre Laborel was unwell, so that's why they're not coming off. But as I say, first, as you mentioned a minute ago, Stepanski and POCHWALA, recent form, very, very good in Vienna last weekend at the Europeans. They have the silver medal. They were 5th in the Worlds last year. Still, quite experienced, in fact, 30 and 31 years old. He's been on the scene for quite a while now. Yeah,
one of my favourite crews to watch. The very stylish, very quiet boat, so that you don't see the boat rocking around from edge to edge. And their body is moving in unison, so
yeah, it's a great class to watch. You know, we saw the girls, a few of them having a bit of trouble with the water going side to side, and they've just got to get one person through the gate. So it's special and really good to watch when you see two men working in unison and getting themselves through the gates. And these guys are doing it really well on the top. I think they're going to post, well, obviously they're going to post the fastest split, being the first ones down, but I think from visually looking, I think it'll be a competitive one as well.
Yeah, just sliding out a little bit there, so just setting themselves up, just waiting for the strokes, and that's really good composure there by SZCZEPANSKI and POCHWALA. Great cross. I'm a little bit blown away by that, but no, great work there. As you see them just moving on down through this middle section, trying to keep the boat as dry and as light as possible, recover and get ready for this next tough move, 14 and 15.
Yeah, we'll see how they do this. There's a few options, whether you drop into the hole or whether you go round, and these guys have tried to go round and collected a touch on that gate. Kind of gone in between the two options, but they seem like they've got into the up nice and high, and they're in and out. You're looking for good exit speed, and the boys have generated that well.
Yeah, sometimes C2, it's actually an advantage because you've got blades on both sides of the boat, so sometimes it can actually make things a bit easier than the individual classes, but other times it's really hard, and that's a great cross there. You saw just how flat they kept the boat on that cross, and they're able to just put the nose in behind and keep the boat running all the way around.
Down through this tricky flush gate, I'm sure as in the C2 it's pretty tight, and there we see them collect the pole with the front paddler.
Yeah, very tough last moves. You saw them waiting and pushing the nose under with their bodies. Big sprint now to the finish, and they'll set this time for the rest of the groups to chase.
That was a sensational time if you compare that to the semi-final, because the winners were Florence and HOUNSLOW, who came down in 1:07.79 clear, so it's about the same time as that.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I think, you know, they've executed all three of those moves really well on those big crux moves, and that's obviously what gives them such a great time. It's a pity about the penalties. We'll see if that stings them in the tail in the end.
I think that'll still be competitive. We could see them in the hunt for the medals here, even with those penalties. So good first crew off.
But as you said, it is a class field with a few youngsters, a few olders, and some in the middle, 23 years old, 24 years old, Luka BOZIC and Saso TALJAT, who've been on the podiums in a lot of events in the last couple of years from Slovenia.
Yeah, but these boys, KASPAR, SINDLER, my new favourite crew after watching them in Penrith, the junior and under-23 world champs.
So no, my fault. I missed up the order. So I told you all about BOZIC and TALJAT. There you go.
That's a great upstream there. These boys are exciting to watch. Like Robbie said, they were great in Penrith a few months ago at the under-23 worlds, and they're just exciting. They get the tail under. You'll see them whip the boat around. They're not afraid to throw it all out there, that's for sure. And they're 0.3 up on the split here.
Oh, I thought the backman was just leaning off slightly, and I think that might have hurt them going across. Got to keep those bodies together in order to keep the boat nice and quiet and dry across there.
Yeah, the Polish guys were great on that top move, so I'm sure we'll see a little bit of a time difference as we go into the next split, just from perfect execution from the Poles and a bit scrappy from the Czechs. But we'll see how they go on these next two crux moves.
Yeah. They're looking a bit frantic in that middle section, but I think that was a great cross there, so perhaps they've regained that composure.
Oh, and look at that, even with that low upstream up the top, they're only 0.93 down, and I'm sure if they execute down here like the Czechs are famous for, they'll be well in touch.
Yeah, they're great whitewater paddlers, the Czechs, and you can see there, maybe a little bit tight, but that leads to a very quick exit. Straight out.
That's the difference between the good paddlers. They can be tight but still make the most of it, and they've done that. They've collected the poles again on 21, but the Polish crew did the same thing. So
yeah, I think that's going to be tough for all the C2s.
We're looking to get in front of 111.35, and they're just outside it in 112.65, so 1.3 seconds behind.
So first 2 runs seem to be of top caliber.
Yeah, very tight racing. As we saw, I think the gap from first to 21st, I know that gap quite well. After the qualifications, is only 5.5 seconds, so it's very tight racing the whole way down.
Well, these are the deliberate mistake on my part. I just introduced them 2 minutes ago. Say a top crew from Slovenia who've been picking up a lot of medals. I was looking at my notes instead of the screen. They'll teach me.
Yeah, the Slovenian crew is probably here to. They're a great crew, and they're probably here to prove a point that they mean business in the C2 category. Disappointment with Peter Kauser having an injury yesterday, but that hasn't hampered the Slovenian team at all. We had good performances in the kayak, in the women, with Ersta Kragel, and now these boys. I'm sure they want to make a name for themselves in their team. Well,
last week they came 3rd bronze position in the Europeans, so certainly early season form.
Yeah. And they've done that well. It looks on the video that those poles are a little bit low in those double upstreams, but the boys have managed to keep the bow underneath it.
And they're up.
Great avoiding on that one as well, and the boys are 0.3 up.
Very nice cross there, so you can see they're a back right crew, so the back man just able to correct. I thought they were going to slide out, but a few big strokes and they were back on that tracking into the upright there.
Yeah, these boys are great. They can adjust their speed of their strokes together in unison really well. They'll be nice and calm and controlled, and then all of a sudden both will engage and you'll see them rate up a bit and really accelerate the boat to where they need to go.
Oh, great cross. You really notice these boys, particularly Luka BOZIC in the front, really leans back a long way for the majority of the run, which is very unique style. And they're 3.9 up on the split and flowing effortlessly down here. So just wanting to keep the speed on.
And that's great across there. Nice and flat boat, and they've come in nice and high. See the front guy bending his body around the pole there. So far in the lead. We'll see how they go through this tricky flush gate.
So will it be a bit easier for the back right?
Perfect.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, they're going to set the time of reference, barring disaster.
I think this could be a medal run here.
Oh, this is a very impressive time. Fastest time in the semis was 1:07, and these guys have set a 1:06. So they've definitely thrown the challenge down to the great British crew of HOUNSLOW and Florence to see if they can step their game up for the final.
Miles, would you say almost faultless? Or
sorry, what's that?
Almost faultless?
Close to. Maybe just that little bobble in the middle where they got a little bit heavy in the cross, but no, I think that was very stylish, classy paddling. Normally the C2s and the ladies K1 are quite a similar time there, but these boys moved quite a way ahead of the girls there, so that's always a good indication. Next crew down, SKANTAR's.
Current European champions.
Yeah, so they're on good form, Peter and Ladislav.
Yeah, another household name in kayaking is the SKANTARs. They are, they've probably been a bit overshadowed by the Hochschorner brothers, but to their own right, they are a very, very, very impressive crew.
Well, last year in the 5 World Cups, they made 4 finals. Best result was 6th.
Yeah, almost just cruel to be in the same country as the Hochschorners, or same time as the Hochschorners.
Oh, and look at that split, though, effortlessly on the top section, 1.5 seconds up. And the Slovenian crew was pretty impressive up there, and the SKANTARs have just taken them to school on that one.
But there you go, that advantage that they had disappears in the blink of an eye with that penalty on the upright, gate 10. So this course, you can't relax for a second. Moving down to gate 14, 15. This move should be a little bit harder for the back right crews, but they've done that quite nicely there. So in and out. Let's check the split. And there you go. So they're 2.3 behind TALJAT BOZIC.
That's a great upstream though. Nice right, bows behind the gate, in and out. And they're only, without their touch, they're 0.32 off the pace. So if they can keep it speedy and quick to the bottom, maybe they can absorb that penalty.
TALJAT BOZIC were lightning down here, so see if they can pull that gap back. That was very, very fast. So they've got a little bit more aggression than TALJAT BOZIC, maybe a bit more just pure speed, so let's see how they go. But they're going to be outside.
Just outside, 109.39, 2.82 seconds behind. That would still put them in second place from the semi-final though, so you know, still a very impressive run, 107 plus a touch.
Shows you how impressive the Slovenians were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. You can see they're just working, person on the inside of the turn trying to keep the paddle in the water, and the man on the outside driving the boat forwards. So always a great crew to watch.
Well, they haven't been together that long as a pair, have they? Franz Anton, Jan BENZIEN, 24-32, and
both C1 paddlers. You can see Jan, probably the most rangy paddler in his style, often reaches past Franz, which is it's very unique. But they've definitely got the speed, so they've won a World Cup before in Bratislava, which is nice big white water, similar to the course here in London. So
yeah, well, there we saw his range, you know, like that wall's ages away, and Jan BENZIEN reaches out for the punt, manages to push off the wall, and we'll check the split, and they're up.
Flying. Perhaps just a little bit offline. They get back on track, cutting it fine. That's a really good effort as a back left crew there. So you see there, Jan just working away, almost making life hard for Franz in the front.
Maybe it's a bit like horse racing, and Jan's just showing him the whip and gets him moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's accomplished. He medalled in the 2002 Worlds in the C1.
Yeah, he's amazing, Jan. There's longevity.
And that's really impressive through the oval there. The boys went under the pole, dropped into the hole, but they managed to get the boat light. Oh, and they've incurred a penalty there. So that split time is not going to have that penalty included, but they're in touch, 0.15. But obviously that penalty is not included in that split.
Yeah, good breakout, nice and flat. Trying to push the nose in just behind. And that's well done. And they're out. Franz forgetting that he's in a C2, getting on the crossbow there. But it's worked well for him.
Oh, and perfect through the flush gate there. We'll see how they go to the finish. It's tricky down here. There's a bit of dead water, but these boys, they definitely have the biceps to get them to the finish line quickly.
Not in fast.
No, but they could push the Skantars. Yeah, they just beat the Skantars by 0.6.
So they drop into second place. Great run there from the German crew, showing their skill and style.
Yeah, so without that penalty, it would have been very, very interesting. I wonder if it played on their mind at all as well.
But so far, all the 5 teams down have put in really, really good performances. Really close.
Yeah, and it's always good in the final. You know, there's obviously a bit more pressure. There's medals up for grabs, but if a team can go faster than anyone did in the semi-final, then that's alarm bells. If you're later off down the list, you know you've got to go faster to get on the podium.
Well, young team again from the Czech Republic, KLAUSSKY and Jane.
Yeah, they're so strong, the Czechs in C2, and KLAUSSKY and Jane. Really not the surprise, they like to surprise the crowd and put on a bit of a show. Very aggressive style. Dropping a little bit low there in up 6, so a little bit unusual for them. Normally they're very tight in around the pole, much like gate 7 there. But they did carry good speed, and yeah, they're up on the split, so I'll eat my words there.
Yeah, we'll see on this course, you know, them just absorb their time. They've dropped a bit low in here, managed to put the upstream edge down and wash away a little bit, so we'll see.
I think something might have gone wrong. Yeah.
Has he broken his paddle?
I think he's broken his paddle. Jane not happy about it at all.
Oh, you can see it there dangling in the wind, yeah.
Oh, it's such a bad feeling.
It's down to C1 with a dead weight in the back by the looks of it.
Yeah. And it's as you can see there, the brains and the power is in the back of the boat, so the front man just giving his the back man the control.
Showing good courage, I guess is the word, to finish this run off. You know, most people, they could get out, they could, you know, have a little dummy spit halfway down, but these boys, they're staying true to like the moral of the sport and giving it a go and getting to the finish. And there's a big crowd here, and that speaks volumes to the crowd and all the kids that are around. That doesn't matter about the result.
Robin, talk us through your performance in the Worlds when you took the rail and pulled yourself up.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a roll, and I thought, well, I've worked this hard to get to the world champs, so I wanted to finish it off. So I had to pull myself back up the rope to make it back up an eddy, and it wasn't a nice feeling, but I was happy that I finished it off, and much the same as these guys here. So great work. So they're actually still clean, which is amazing. So
well done.
Big round of applause to those boys. That's great to see that in front of this big crowd. That you know, that people will remember that maybe more than the winners is about what this crew's done today. So yeah, big congratulations to them for their sportsmanship and finishing that run off.
Yeah, great to see.
Well, there might be a bit of noise. There's several thousand Brits in the crowd. Rhys Davies, Matthew Lister. This is probably the biggest stage, their biggest performance is yet to come, hopefully.
Yeah,
Brits,
definitely.
obviously.
Oh, and look at that. That was a reel through there. Bit of home course knowledge off that curl at the top there.
Tight lines through there, just weaving the nose in through that pole. But looking very smooth so far. Matt and Rhys, real characters of the sport.
Whip the boat around in that upstream. We'll check the split as they come through. I think they'll be up though. Had a pretty good start, 0.2.
Drifting wide, and Matt just copying a touch on the back of the buoyancy vest there, and they're sliding into this next move, which won't help their tracking. But they recover quite nicely into gate 9. Sorry, into gate 10.
They've done that well.
Moving back on.
So we'll look as they come down through here to keep the boat nice and dry. These guys have trained on here a lot over the last few years, and we can see that coming through in their paddling now. They probably know it like the back of their hand, and we'll see how they go through this oval, tricky cross here. On top, well, surf up to the gate and in and out. That's perfect.
Textbook.
Yesterday we saw total domination by the Brits, and so it's huge home course advantage.
Yeah, I think this home course advantage is, you can't downplay the importance of it, because it's such a unique course with the amount of stoppers, and it's like a real drop pool course here. But great flat boat.
Yeah, and there we see the home course advantage. Those boys in and under the first upstream there, flat boat across.
Oh, they're cutting this tight, and they had to cop the touch there in order to avoid a 50 and another touch. So these penalties.
But the time is still acceptable. They're not going to win.
No, minus the penalties, the time's a really good time.
But great start to the season, and some really solid paddling actually there by the boys, and showing their gratitude to the crowd. So I'm sure they'll be a little bit disappointed with that, but at the same time, that's their first World Cup final. So it's a big moment, and I'm sure they'll remember it and learn a lot from it.
Yeah, they can hold their head high after the, 2/3 of that run was textbook and would have had them on the podium. It's a few little penalties down the bottom, but great paddling, and they know it too. You can see them congratulating each other. They know they've done a good job for their first World Cup final.
Well, here we go. It's going to be France. Pierre Piccot, Hugo BISO. Perhaps the least well-known of the many French teams coming forward.
Yeah, but they've made the World Championship final last year, and many World Cup finals before that. So they've definitely got the pedigree to really push for the medals here.
And that's a really great start. I didn't see any water hit the front paddler there as they went through those drops. They managed to thread the bow and keep it light, and that's what the French are renowned for, is just being such technicians on the water that no matter what's in front of them, they can, show their class and their style.
1.15 up in the split already, so great start by Picco BISO. And you can see it, that's another great cross there. Just using that big stopper to push them all the way across, keeping the boat nice and quiet. They're the only crew in the zigzag style boat here, and it's got a very wide boat, so it allows them to keep it quite flat, but losing a bit of speed before the drop there. So just trying to set this up, but you can see how dry they kept it all the way across the back of 14 to 15. But I just wonder if they're just being a little bit conservative through this middle section.
Yeah, they've lost that lead they had at the top. They're now 2.8 behind. But, we've seen it all before. This bottom section really important.
And dropping a bit of an edge there. Having to pick it up, and they're sliding sideways. This is a big time loss here. So BISO working hard in the back to drive it out.
See how they go through this final flush gate. That's obviously, yeah, they've done that well. It's obviously hurting that error on the double up there, but see if they can bring the power to the finish and upset the podium. What have we got? 109, 10.
11.30, so puts them into 4th position. So our leaders still TALJAT, BOZIC from
Guaranteed
Slovenia.
himself a medal. 2 pairs to go.
2 very good pairs to go, but we'll see if they can step it up. Luka BOZIC obviously, and TALJAT went faster, 106.57 clean run. So we'll see if these last 2 crews down the water can match that performance.
It'll be Gauthier KLAUSS and Matthew PECHE. At the Olympics, they were in tears, not for the right reasons, just missed out.
It was hard to watch. They were on an absolute flyer in that Olympic final, and just touching the last gate with Gautier with his top hand.
These guys are probably my favourite C2 crew to watch. They're so light and skippy on the water. They've got great unison, and through that top section, again, another textbook execution. They run it round this turn. Good punt on the exit.
Well, last year in the World Cups, they dominated, having 3 victories.
Yeah, so I think they refocused after the Olympics and came out firing. So firing here today, 0.75 up on the split.
Look at that. That is perfect.
Flying.
Carried the speed all the way into that gate, got a good turn, and they're off. This is going to be a great run if they can hold this together all the way to the finish.
You can just see how light they keep the boat all the time. It's up on top, moving forwards, just getting ready, setting up for the 14-15. Which is quite a tricky move for the back right paddlers.
They've done that well there. They got a little wet on the start of that, but they managed to position the boat again and accelerate into the upstream. And they're still up on the split, 0.6. So this is going to be a great, exciting finish to this run if these boys can hold on.
Yeah, and they're keeping the speed on, running bows around, but that sets them up for the exit. But they're dropping off the back here. They've got to work here all the way up.
Carry the
Losing
speed
a bit
around,
of time.
but not a great crossing there. They let the front go a little too much, which, and they caught the touch.
Yeah, so these little errors just building on this bottom section, but that's a great gate 21. See if they can finish with the flurry here.
Oh, and what a time. They've gone a 107 plus a touch, so they go into 4th position with that touch knocking them right down.
It's a deja vu for the French.
Great paddlers to watch, but that's disappointing with that penalty down the bottom. A little error across the double upstream down the bottom, but that's, you know, your arms are on fire down there. You're up to what 80 seconds of paddling on this water, and you know it's really tough to control that, to manage to hold the boat flat. Your abs are burning, your arms are burning, and
it's that constant re-acceleration, isn't it, Will?
Yeah.
Here we go, these are the guys. Can they handle the pressure? They are the world champions, and David Florence in the bow of the boat was the C1 champion yesterday.
Dave, an absolute machine in the front of this C2. You'll see Rich barely does a stroke in the back. Just lets Dave drive it the whole way down. He's just there to keep the boat quiet and keep it on line.
That's a great start from the boys. They've threaded all that stagger at the top into the first up. No time lost so far that I can see.
Yeah. Setting themselves up, so they've got good pre-turn into gate 7 there. A little touch there by Dave Florence. Bit of a careless one on the outside pole there.
But still only 1.45 seconds down on the split, and that includes their penalty. So
they were more than half a second up already on that first split, which is amazing.
That cross was textbook as well. Local knowledge coming into play.
Well, they missed the gold in the Olympics by 0.36 to a second, I believe. So
and they were actually leading. They were still up in the split after the last gate at the Olympics. So that's just how tight it was at the games. And here today, we hope to see a just as exciting finish.
Yeah, we've got the crowd here going wild as well. It's a big crowd cheering on the Brits, obviously, and so we'll see if that cheering can drag them to the finish.
It's going to be difficult. 2.38 seconds down the split.
So it can still happen, but it has to be perfect from here on in. So TALJAT, BOZIC, perhaps don't have the engine that these two have. And you can see a great cross there, in and out. Dave just controlling the front with that crossbow. And pushing in, under.
Now we've got a race on our hands. It's going to be really close.
Yeah. Sprint to the finish. Who's got this race? Who wants it more?
105. No, they're going to be outside.
No.
So, but can they get into the medals? No.
Wow, they've got another touch there on there. They've got 4 seconds of penalty. I'm not sure where that last one came from. Looks like down the bottom.
Yes. Third last gate, so gate 21. I didn't see it, but they were so quick through there.
That's a great result for the Slovenian crew. You know, they went faster than everyone else in the semi-final. They were off early in the final, and they showed they meant business, and they just sat back and watched while no one could match their time.
Yeah, very technical course today in the C2, so their technical style really was a big asset to them, and they showed some great paddling there.
If you look at the first 5 teams, their all pure time was 107 or 106, so it shows how fast they were.
Yeah, and it shows how good the C2 field is. You know, they're all, you know, the top 5 or 6 or 7 boats are all on the same pace. It's just the penalties that separates them. So yeah, really tight racing in the final here.
The only big gap is KLAUSS and Jane, who broke a paddle. So really good work there.
Top placing on a very difficult course.
It's always great watching those finals too, where everyone steps up and races well, and you know, it comes right down to the last paddler or the last crew. It's an exciting final. It was great to watch today.
Let's see if we're going to have some official results. I don't think there's any complaint. Here we go. Official results. It's Luka BOZIC and Cesar TALJAT who take the gold. Franz Anton and Jan BENZIEN for Germany take the silver. And the Skadistar twins take the bronze medal. So yeah, really good close racing. And KARLOVSKY and Jan have got some stories to talk about in the pub tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think people will be buying them a drink today.
Yeah, and the Slovenians, that'll be great for them heading back to their home course in Tartsum for the second World Cup next week. I'm sure they'll love winning today.
Well, boys, coming to the close of this this little show. We'll be back on air next weekend in Slovenia, beautiful Slovenia, Ljubljana, probably one of the most beautiful cities. So thank you very much, and see you soon. Good racing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.